It's Monday, June 19th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First, we're going to travel to the Sturgis Library to learn about their summer reading program. Then we're going to find out more about required summer reading for Barnstable Public School students. And finally, we'll learn how students can prepare for college with Cape Cod Community College Communications Director Michael Gross. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. The town's Growth Management Department has officially changed its name. It will now be known as the Planning and Development Department. The name change is an effort to better reflect its emphasis on comprehensive planning, economic development, and addressing the Cape's housing needs. The renaming was championed by Town Manager Mark Ells and approved by Town Council May 4th. The Massachusetts Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation will host a forum to address potential scams. Undersecretary John Chapman will come to Town Hall to help empower residents. Chapman will review ways to protect you from identity theft, and he will also discuss current regulations that are in place to protect consumers. The forum will be held tomorrow, Tuesday, June 20th at 11 a.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. Town Council votes to hold a special town election ahead of the Cape Cod Regional Technical High School vote. The special election will be to vote on a Proposition 2.5 override that would fund a new Cape Cod Regional Technical High School should the building project be approved by voters in October. Town Council also approved spending $375,000 in community preservation funds to build a new playground at Barnstable West Barnstable Elementary School. The playground needed replaced after it was deemed unsafe and torn down. With the community preservation funds and private donations for the project, the playground fund is now over $425,000. Up next, we're going to learn more about the Sturgis Library's summer reading program. Well, Megan, it is so nice to be here at the Sturgis Library. I'm getting very excited about the summer reading program. The kickoff is coming up.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, but when I think about the summer reading program, it takes me right back to when I was a kid, and I think it was my favorite time of the year, getting really excited to come in and sign up for the summer reading program. Tell me a little bit about Sturgis Library's summer reading program.
Sure. So it starts after school lets out, and the kids come in, and we have kind of a self-service station here that explains everything. So you don't need to find anybody. You can kind of come and just check it out on your own. The theme this year is Build a Better World. We've taken kind of a social slant on that, being kind and helpful and looking out for other people and caring for everyone, including everyone. Some libraries may do a more literal interpretation of that with building and construction. It's also Sturgis Library's 150th anniversary in August, so we have a lot of fun events, including the 4th of July parade. We're going to have a big presence in the 4th of July parade in Barnstable Village. So all of that means we have an exciting summer here at Sturgis Library. So kids can come in and sign up. They'll just fill out a little registration form and start reading. This is their summer reading log, and they just cross off a globe for every hour they read. And as they accumulate hours, they bring them in and they find either me or a staff member, and they get a bead to add to this necklace for every hour they read, but they also get at different intervals incentives. So at 5 hours, they'll get a free ice cream cone. 10 hours, they get a free meal at Chipotle. 15 hours, free mini golf and ice cream at Party Freeze, and it keeps going. We also have a weekly book review. So this is super simple. They just fill out the title, author, and then give it a quick review, plop it in here, and every week I pull out at least one winner, and they get to pick a free book to keep.
Oh, wow, that is so exciting. I mean, really, it does encourage kids when you have these types of incentives to keep reading. Why is it so important that kids continue to be active and engaged over the summer months and continue reading?
Well, it's proven that during the summer months, kids can lose up to 2 months of learning achievement that they've specifically in reading, but also in math. So if they keep up with their math facts and they read every day, a lot of that learning loss will be prevented. So it's really important. You don't want your child to go into the next year already behind because they've slipped. Especially if you've got somebody who's kind of on the cusp of being at level or below level. Extra important for them to be reading and just to stay in the habit of it and the joy of it, to escape if you're having a hard day, you're having a tough afternoon, just go, curl up in your bed with a good book, and it takes you to a different place. And I think kids get so caught up in their devices that, that becomes the automatic place they go when they want to escape. So I do something with my kids. I call it deer time, drop everything and read. And this summer we're going to have an hour of deer time every single day in the house. Everybody can go wherever they want to in the house, or we can all stay together, and everybody's got to read every day.
I love it. I think I might institute that at my house as well. And I think I can remember when when I was in elementary school, we had drop everything and read time at school, and it was like a celebration when it happened. I was like, "This is the best, great!" So very important. Now, sometimes schools here in Barnstable have lists for kids that they really want them to choose from to read over the summer.
Yep.
Do you have those lists if a kid comes in and wants help finding a book that would qualify for that summer reading?
Yep, Barnstable Public Schools have recommended summer reading lists for entering first grade all the way through 7th grade. The high school has kind of a different approach to summer reading. But so we have the lists here at the library. All of the village libraries in Barnstable will have the lists printed. You don't have to worry about printing them. You can come in, take a look at the list, get some help from the librarians finding the books that you're interested in. We collaborate in the town of Barnstable. All the village libraries collaborate together. So we have a kickoff party to kick off the start of the summer reading program. That's going to be at the Centerville Library on June 30th, which is a Friday at 10 a.m. And there's a concert, super fun concert, followed by free Four Seas ice cream on the patio.
Well, you can't beat that.
No. But you can't sign up for summer reading programs there, but that just kind of kicks off the fun. And then you pick the library closest to you, and you go in and learn all about their program. Each library has their own set of incentives. They're mostly similar. You might get an ice cream here and a toy there, but, everybody has some sort of incentive program to keep the kids excited about reading.
Wonderful. So collaboration for the kickoff and the wrap party.
Yeah, the wrap party is actually going to be super fun. It's in the village at the Jailhouse Jam stage. Toe Jam Puppet Band is performing, and Smitty's Ice Cream is going to be serving reduced price ice creams for the families. That's on August 11th, which is a Friday at 5 p.m. So families can come and pack a picnic dinner and just set up on the lawn. Kids love rolling down the big hill. It's really a fun.
That has turned out to be such an awesome resource for a lot of different events here
it's a great
in Barnstable
venue.
Village. Yeah,
great
awesome.
venue. The kids have so much fun.
Well, we thank you for telling us everything we need to know about the summer reading program. I certainly am so excited, and hopefully our kids will be too.
Yes, definitely. The other cool thing to share is here at Sturgis Library every Thursday after story time, we have free lunch to any child 18 and under with no restrictions. You don't have to register. They're served while supplies last, but so we do story time at 11, and then immediately afterwards we go outside into the back lawn with picnic tables and listen to some music and enjoy our community, and the kids all have a delicious, free, healthy lunch.
Love it. So that's Thursdays, did you say?
Yep, and it starts the first Thursday after school lets out, which is June 29th, I believe.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you telling us everything we need to know about summer reading, and I'm going to institute that drop everything and read time.
Excellent.
And to learn more about summer reading requirements for Barnstable Public School students, we'll chat with English Curriculum Coordinator Mike Wichkowski. So Mike, so excited you could join us today to chat about summer reading. It's so important for kids to read over the summer. I know at Barnstable Public Schools, typically teachers will produce a list of books that students can choose from. Why is it so important that kids continue to read over the summer?
Well, first, Sarah, thank you very much for having me today, and it's my pleasure to talk about summer reading. I think summer reading is really important because it keeps kids engaged academically on a pleasurable level over the summer. It allows them to practice and maintain the skills that they've learned, throughout the school year. And one of the other added bonuses of this is it allows their imaginations to, run wild. A lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't read the book, I saw the movie." Well, most times the book is better than the movie, and the main reason for that is your imagination shapes the characters. So that's a great thing for anybody to be doing, but especially kids.
And the book just gets you so many more details, and you can really understand the characters' perspectives a little bit more, I think, than a movie can allow you to understand. So much better to read the book. What kind of books should kids be choosing over the summer? Because it seems to me you would want them to choose something that they would like to read, but at the same time, you probably want them to have something that challenges them as well.
And I think that's why the lists, starting, we're really in first grade and going all the way to 12th grade, have a variety of books. Because one of the things, and if you think about this as an adult, if you start a book and you don't like it, you want to put it down. And we don't want to have those types of books for kids to read in the summer. We want to get them excited about it. So there's a lot of choice on the varying lists. So if you look at like an elementary list, there's tons of choice. It's books that they're comfortable with. And then you also have the added incentive that various community programs have for kids to read. So the local libraries, like if you go to the Marston Smell Library, the Centerville Library, or any of the village libraries, they have summer reading programs. And so children get incentives for completing their reading. Barnes & Noble in grades 1 through 6 will give you a free book if you read 8 and complete a log sheet. Rockland Trust will start a bank account for students. So there's a lot of incentives for kids to read. And then, the schools do incentive on the elementary level when they come back with a list for the summer. Now, kind of once you get out of 3rd grade, it's a little bit more of a requirement. But if you look at some of the lists for, like, let's say we start in grade 4, there's about 35 to 40 books on the list.
Wow.
And the genres, there are some books from every genre. So there's nonfiction, there's humor, there's fantasy, poetry, sports, graphic novels, historical novels. So we try to kind of run the spectrum and get, kind of a book for everybody.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that graphic novels are on the list now. When did that happen? Have they been on for a while, or were they recently added?
In the last couple of years, they've been added. And if you think about it, if you know anything about graphic novels, there's a lot of text in them, along with a lot of beautiful artwork. And it really is a way to engage students in reading, and maybe they make the jump from a graphic novel to a traditional novel, or maybe they're just doing it to because they want a break, they want something different, and the artwork's really engaging along with the prose. So I think it's really important that we have different options for students.
And these lists are available too if a child is confused about the list, maybe they lost it in their backpack on the way home from school. These lists are available online, is that right?
That is 100% correct. So the grade 4-5 list is available at the BUES website. The grade 6 and 7 list is available at the BIS website, and the grades 8 through 12 list is available at the high school website.
Let me ask you this question. Kids are constantly in front of technology, whether they're looking at the computer screen, looking at their telephone, looking at a video game. They are constantly using technology. Is it important to take that time out to read too, just to get a break from some screen time?
Well, and it's really funny when you think about screen time. When you think about when you and I grew up, there were 3 channels. Maybe we got cable and there were 20, right? Now kids are on screens all the time. I mean, you go to restaurants and there are televisions. It's really hard to get away from a screen. And I think one of the benefits of reading, especially now, is that it allows kids to have a break from a screen, and then it allows them to have a sustained amount of time with their imagination. Alone with themselves, reading a book, soaking it all in. And I think, in a way, it's more important now than it ever has been.
How do you feel about e-readers? Does it make a difference? Would you prefer that a child get a book that they can hold in their hands rather than going to a device?
I mean, I think it's personal preference. I personally love a book. I love the smell of a new book.
Me too. Oh, man.
I love the fact that, like, if I want to take a note in a book, I can write in it. But I know, for example, some of my friends have the paper white e-readers that they read outside in the sun, and they bring those to the beach. I mean, I generally think that most students would prefer an actual book. The odds of it getting broken are a lot less than an e-reader. But it's really however somebody chooses to read. As long as they're actively reading, I think it's a great thing.
Good to know. And of course, I'm with you. The smell of a book, I think, is smell of a new book is my favorite smell. And you're right, you can share the book, you can take it with you, so really important. Anything else you think is important for our viewers to be aware of as far as summer reading goes?
Well, I think that they should know that, for students at BUES, there's one required book for each grade. So in grade 4, you're going to read Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, and then 2 additional books from the list. In grade 5, you're going to read BFG plus 2 additional books. In grades in 6 and 7, you're going to read 3 books, any 3 books from the list. And the high school, we changed that program a little bit this year to focus on health and wellness. And the book titles focus on social, emotional, and physical wellness. So we wanted to have kind of a focus to the reading where students could read one of the books per grade level and then come back in September and with their English teachers have discussions about the books, whether they were literature circles, Socratic seminars. So you're not coming back to the high school and, oh, I have to take a test on a book I read over the summer. It's more, okay, I read a book, now I can discuss in my classroom a topic that's actually relevant to my life as a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, or an 18-year-old, and I think that the book titles reflect that.
Yeah, what an important topic. I think I have a high school student myself. That makes me cheer inside to know that she is going to have an assignment to read something that could really help her deal with some of the stress of being a high school student, because it can be very stressful for these students.
Very much so. I mean, students nowadays have a lot on their plate, and I think that's actually one of the complaints we hear from especially high school students, why don't have any time to read even in the summer, because they're busy working. And obviously living on Cape Cod, they have a lot of opportunities for employment. I would say that, there's nothing better after, a day at work or a day at the beach, than to actually sit down and read. And I think from the high school point of view, one book, it's not that much, and, none of them are 1,000-page books. And I think the idea that they're books that impact their lives or that will impact their lives. For example, one of the books for incoming 12th graders is a book called Reviving Ophelia. And it's a book about basically the issues in society that adolescent girls have to face. So, and I have read the book, and it was a learning experience for me. But knowing, a young woman reading that book can probably identify with a lot of the situations, that exist in it. I mean, there are other books like Fast Food Nation where it's just an interesting cultural phenomena in terms of how fast food has overtaken the United States.
Wow.
And there's a lot, you read that and you're like, wow, I actually want to think about where I actually go and spend my money.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it, and we're going to cross our fingers and hope that everyone finds a great book to read this summer.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It was a pleasure.
Joining me now live on the phone, we have with us a Cape Cod Community College Communications Director, Michael Gross. Michael, so important for students to be ready when they head off to college. Cape Cod Community College is actually wanting to help students get ready by giving some classes over the summer. Tell me a little bit about this program.
Absolutely. I'm quite sure the public is not aware that the college offers a whole series of free refresher courses and workshops getting you ready to come into college, both in mathematics and in English. We know there are any number of private companies that would be happy to have you pay them a great deal of money to go through a bunch of preparatory courses to get you ready for college. In fact, right here in West Barnstable at the college campus, there are a whole series of them, and they're all free. The first one to talk about is math. Everyone, I have to admit, me included, math is just one of those things that either your brain gets it in 10 seconds or less, or it's a struggle. At least it seems to be that way.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that it's definitely a struggle.
I'm real good in geometry, but once you put 2 variables in an algebraic equation, I'm gone. It's terrible. And I say that with a smile. The good news is that we have a whole series of workshops beginning next Monday, as a matter of fact, the 26th. And the first series of them are for people who really need to review their basic math skills. And we have a series of these workshops. They begin 5 to 8 o'clock next Monday, and they go right straight through the 29th of August. And the goal here is to get students ready to take the math placement test. And we need to talk a little bit about placement tests for a minute. I think people are terribly fearful that they're going to come take some test and we're not going to allow them to come here. That's not the way the community college works. You hear about people taking entrance exams for four-year schools and other high-level schools, etc. We're an open enrollment, open placement institution. We welcome everyone, and we find the way to get you ready. And this is a good example. The math really is set in that first series for people who really need to remember fractions. I think I'd raise my hand there. But it's really meant to get you sort of at the basic level to begin to come in and take the test. Also in mid-July and in mid-August, we're going to run another workshop which is a little more in-depth, and this is for people who probably need a review of algebra and maybe a little bit of pre-calc, people who might be headed into the sciences, but they need to brush up a little bit too before, again, taking that AccuPlacer, it's called, math test. We really want people to come in, get a sense what they really need to know, and they can, by the way, take that placement test a number of times after they've gone through the workshops. And it's not just math. Later on in the semester, in the summer, we'll also offer these workshops for people who need to take English as well and need to brush up on their English. The biggest frustration for people is that they come in and apply and they want to come to college, but their skill level isn't quite at college level, and so they're going to have to take what people probably have heard of as developmental courses. We'd like people not to have to do that. We want to get your skill level up before you come in the door so that you're not sort of having to take preparatory classes to get into college.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
what a great
I
opportunity for individuals.
Go on the website, go on our testing center. You can go to capecod.edu and /testing and see the number of workshops there. And please come. They're day, they're evening. There are all kinds of options for people.
And free, Michael. I think that is so important that these classes are accessible because you don't have to pay a lot of money to take them.
Not a dime. And again, I think that is also something the public doesn't understand about their community college. We offer you free help in filling out your financial aid forms. We literally will have you come and sit with us. We offer free help in applying to colleges with our advising center. And it doesn't have to be just us. If you want to go to college and need help with applications, we're here for that no matter where you want to go. The community college is truly a community resource, and many times I think people don't understand that all of the resources that are here, we think of our incredible library, our online access to databases. Many students who have to do research papers in junior high school or high school can literally go through our online databases through our library. And again, here I think is another good example with a whole series of free workshops intended to get you ready for college. And again, by the way, I suppose that certainly means any college. There's nothing in here that says you have to be signed up to Cape Cod Community College to come to take these seminars.
Wow.
Not at all.
Wow.
It's intended to help people get ready for college. Please do look on our college webpage. And again, I think the other thing that as we kind of look ahead through the summer, there's also a lot of fun here. I think if the public will look at our events page as well and go down in the lower right-hand column in college events, we're offering some amazing performances this summer, things that we've never done before. After renovating the Tilden Arts Center a couple of 3 years ago and making it all air-conditioned, just an amazing space, we're going to be offering some true Vegas-style shows, some amazing performers through July and August, and I hope the public will find that this is a new place to come in the summer to enjoy as well as to study.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for telling us all about that, Michael. And of course, if anyone wants to learn more about the workshops or, like you mentioned, the events, they can click on capecod.edu. We really appreciate it, Michael.
No, absolutely. And please do. We open up early in September, and summer is flying by. I can't believe it. We're already at the 19th of June.
Yeah, I know. I can't even believe it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Michael. We really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Good to speak with you. Bye-bye now.
Talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Our guest today, Michael Gross, he is the Communications Director at Cape Cod Community College. Now let's find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. You can enjoy live music by the Hyannis Harbor at lunchtime every Friday this summer. The High Arts Shanties will feature a different musical guest every Friday at noon. This Friday, Ken Sylvia will be performing some R&B classics. So pack a lunch and head down to Bismore Park this Friday at noon for a very relaxing break. Here's a look at this week's board, committee, and commission meeting schedule. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we'll chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. We'll talk with DPW Director Dan Santos, and we'll have our in-depth coverage of the recent Flag Day ceremony held at Hyannis West Elementary School. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.